Hey there. Welcome to the North Florida VA Real Estate Podcast. I'm Darian's avatar, the voice he sends out when he's juggling everything else, researching deals, pulling a hospital shift, or watching his girls spar it out in karate class. Right now, he's probably on the golf course trying to convince himself that Slice was just testing wind speed. Today, we're talking about the VA Renovation Loan, fixer-upper or financial trap. Think HGTV with military precision. You see the dramatic before and after. You see the equity jump. You see the beautiful kitchen reveal. And you think, why can't I do that with my VA benefit? That's the right question, but there's a better one. Should you? Because the VA renovation loan is powerful, and anything powerful demands discipline. Let's start with clarity. A VA renovation loan allows you to purchase or refinance a property and roll renovation costs into the same mortgage. One loan, one closing. The purchase price plus the improvements. Instead of buying a house that already meets VA property standards, you're buying one that needs work and financing the repairs up front. That opens doors. It allows you to consider properties that other VA buyers cannot. Homes with outdated kitchens, aging roofs, old flooring, minor structural repairs, maybe even properties that failed a standard VA appraisal. But here's what most people miss. This is not a shortcut. It is not easier. It is not faster. It is not cheaper by default. It is strategic, and strategy requires numbers. Let's walk through how this actually works. First, you identify a property. Maybe it's listed at $260,000. It's in a strong neighborhood, solid schools, good resale history, but the home hasn't been updated since 1988. The roof is at the end of its life. The HVAC is old. The bathrooms are tired, cosmetically rough, structurally decent. This is where the opportunity might live. You bring in a licensed contractor, not your buddy, not a handyman from Facebook Marketplace, a licensed contractor who understands renovation financing. They create a detailed bid, line by line, roof replacement, HVAC replacement, kitchen remodel, flooring, paint, every detail documented. Let's say those improvements total $50,000. Now your total projected investment is $310,000. Here's where the key step happens. The lender orders an after-improved appraisal. The appraiser evaluates the home based on what it will be worth once renovations are complete, not today. After the work. If the appraiser supports a value of $340,000, you have room. If the appraiser says $300,000, you have a problem because the loan cannot exceed supported value. And that's the first filter, not emotion, not Pinterest boards. The appraisal. Let me slow this down. If purchase plus renovation equals $310,000 and the after repair value is $340,000, you potentially created $30,000 in equity on paper before market appreciation. That's powerful. But if the value comes in at $305,000, you're essentially financing near the top of the value range. That leaves no margin. Margin equals safety. No margin equals stress. Now let's talk about the word nobody likes in real estate. Risk. Renovation adds layers of risk: construction risk, timeline risk, cost overrun risk, appraisal risk, contractor performance risk, permit delays, material shortages, hidden damage behind walls. Every one of those is real. Let me tell you about a scenario. A Marine veteran finds a property priced below market value. The numbers look good. Renovation budget is $45,000. After repair value projected at $335,000. Everything seems aligned. 2 weeks into demolition, the contractor finds water damage in subflooring, not visible during initial walkthrough. Repair cost increases by $9,000. Then the county requires additional electrical updates to bring systems up to code. Another $6,000. Now the renovation is $60,000. That cushion you thought you had, it just shrank. And that is normal. Renovation rarely goes exactly as planned. This is why I tell veterans to treat this like a mission plan. You never deploy without contingency. Why would you renovate without one? 5 to 10% contingency minimum. Personally, I prefer 10 because cash equals calm. When surprises show up, and they will, you respond. You don't panic. Now let's address something important. VA renovation loans are not offered by every lender, and not every lender who offers them is experienced. Experience matters here. This is not a cookie-cutter loan. It requires coordination between lender, appraiser, contractor, title, and sometimes inspectors at multiple stages. Funds are not handed to the contractor all at once. They are placed in escrow, released in draws. Work is completed in phases, inspected, then paid. This protects you, but it also means your contractor must be comfortable operating within that structure. Some contractors refuse renovation loans because they don't want to wait on draw payments. That's a red flag. You want someone who has done this before. Let's talk timelines. You are not closing in 21 days. This process can take 45 to 60 days, sometimes longer. Why? Because you are underwriting both a home purchase and a construction project simultaneously. That requires documentation, detailed scope of work, cost breakdown, appraisal review, loan approval, draw schedule setup. It's layered, and after closing, renovations often must be completed within a specific time frame, commonly 90 to 120 days. That requires scheduling discipline. You need a contractor who can start quickly and finish efficiently. Now let's talk about living arrangements. If the home is not habitable during renovations, you may need temporary housing. That means double expenses, rent plus mortgage, or staying with family, or short-term rental. Many veterans forget to calculate this. Let's do simple math. If your mortgage is $2,200 per month and renovations take 3 months, that's $6,600 in payments before you move in. Add temporary housing costs. Now your true project cost is higher than the spreadsheet shows. Numbers matter, always. Now let's discuss when a VA renovation loan actually makes sense. First, location is strong. You cannot fix location. You cannot renovate a bad school zone. You cannot remodel traffic patterns. Location drives long-term appreciation. Second, the renovation is primarily cosmetic or moderate. Kitchen updates, flooring, roof, HVAC, bathrooms. When you get into major structural work, foundation shifts, layout changes, or extensive plumbing replacement, risk increases dramatically. Third, the after repair value clearly exceeds total investment, not barely, clearly. Fourth, you have financial reserves beyond lender minimums because flexibility equals strength. Let's zoom into strategy. Some veterans use renovation loans to enter neighborhoods they otherwise couldn't afford. That can be smart. If updated homes in a neighborhood sell for $380,000, but an outdated one sells for $300,000 and needs $50,000 in work, that gap might represent opportunity, but only if the numbers hold. Let's walk through that example carefully. Purchase price, $300,000. Renovations, $50,000. Total investment, $350,000. After repair value, $380,000. That's a $30,000 equity position, solid. But what if renovation costs creep to $65,000? Now total investment is $365,000. Cushion shrinks to $15,000. Still workable, but thinner. And thinner margin means higher exposure if market shifts. Now let's talk about something emotional, pride. Many veterans want to transform something, to improve it, to put their stamp on it. That's natural. But remember, this is not a passion project. It is a financial decision first. If you want custom luxury finishes that exceed neighborhood standards, you may over-improve. Over-improving rarely returns dollar for dollar. Stay aligned with market expectations. Match the neighborhood. Do not outbuild it. Here's a principle I want you to write down mentally. Buy the worst house in the best neighborhood, but only if the math supports it. Renovation financing can help you do that, but math decides, not vision boards. Another key factor is debt-to-income ratio, because when you roll renovation costs into the loan, your mortgage increases, your monthly payment increases. Even if you create equity, your cash flow changes. If your payment stretches your budget thin, stress enters your life, and financial stress affects everything. Sleep, relationships, decision-making. Do not chase equity at the expense of stability. Let's also address resale timeline. If you plan to live in the home long-term, small fluctuations matter less. If this is a 3-year plan before PCS or upgrade, margins matter more. Short timelines require stronger equity positions. Long timelines allow appreciation to work in your favor. Strategy must match your horizon. Let me tell you about a veteran couple who approached this correctly. They found an older home in a highly desirable neighborhood. The kitchen was outdated, bathrooms original, roof near end of life, but layout was strong, lot was good. Surrounding homes renovated and selling higher. They secured detailed bids, built a 10% contingency. After repair value supported a healthy equity cushion. They planned to live there at least 7 years. That timeline gave them margin. The renovation finished on schedule. Equity position solid, payment comfortable. That's disciplined execution. That's how you use a VA renovation loan as a tool, not as a gamble. Now contrast that with another example. A buyer stretched budget to afford both renovation and high-end finishes. Granite upgrades beyond neighborhood norm. Custom cabinets exceeding market standard. Designer fixtures. After completion, appraisal aligned with neighborhood ceiling, not their personal investment. They loved the house, but financially, returns were limited. That's not a disaster, but it's not optimized. Optimization matters when building wealth. And this podcast is about veteran homeownership and investment, not just homeownership. Investment mindset means asking, how does this decision position me 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Can this property convert to a rental later? Does renovation improve rent potential? Does location support strong tenant demand? These are bigger questions, and renovation financing intersects with them. One final thought before we pause. The VA benefit is powerful. It gives zero down potential, competitive rates, flexible guidelines, but it is not meant to encourage careless decisions. It is meant to create opportunity with structure. The VA renovation loan is no different. It can accelerate equity. It can open doors. It can transform outdated homes into strong assets, but only when discipline leads. Not excitement, not urgency, not comparison to television. You've trained for high-pressure environments. Apply that same discipline here. Run the numbers. Stress test the budget. Build contingency, vet the contractor, confirm the appraisal supports reality. If it does, move forward confidently. If it doesn't, walk away. There will always be another property. Opportunity rewards patience, and renovation rewards preparation. Now let's go deeper, because understanding the structure of a VA renovation loan is one thing. Executing it well is something else entirely. This is where deals are either built correctly or slowly unravel. Let's start with one of the most misunderstood pieces of renovation financing: control. When you use a VA renovation loan, you are not in full control of the renovation timeline the way you would be if you paid cash after closing. There are inspections, there are draw schedules, there are lender requirements, and those requirements are there for a reason. The lender is protecting the asset, the VA is protecting the guarantee, and ultimately that structure protects you. But it also means flexibility is limited. For example, you typically cannot decide halfway through to add a new project that was not included in the original scope of work. If you originally planned for flooring and kitchen cabinets, you cannot suddenly decide to add a screened-in patio without going through formal change order processes. And change orders can be slow. They require approval. They can impact appraised value calculations, and they can delay draws. So here's the lesson. The planning phase matters more than the renovation phase. Slow down at the beginning, be precise, over-document, ask more questions than you think you need to. Because once the loan closes, the structure is locked in. Now let's talk about inspections. Each draw phase usually requires verification that the completed work matches the scope. If the contractor falls behind, if workmanship does not meet standard, if something is incomplete, funds can be delayed. That can strain your relationship with your contractor, which is why choosing the right contractor is not just about price. It's about professionalism, communication, documentation, reliability. Here's a practical tip. Ask your contractor directly. How many renovation loans have you completed? How comfortable are you with draw inspections? What happens if we encounter hidden issues? If they hesitate, that tells you something. Now let's shift to financial stress testing. I want you to imagine 3 scenarios before you ever sign. Scenario 1, everything goes perfectly, on budget, on time. Appraisal holds strong. That's your best case. Scenario 2. Renovation costs increase by 10%. Timeline extends by 30 days. Can you absorb it? Scenario 3. Market softens slightly by the time work is complete. Maybe comparable sales dip. Maybe interest rates move and buyer demand cools. Does your long-term plan still hold? If the answer to scenario 2 or 3 is panic, you're too tight. Renovation rewards margin. Let's talk about equity strategy. A properly structured renovation loan can position you ahead of the curve. Instead of buying retail, meaning fully updated at top market value, you're buying at a discount and forcing appreciation through improvements. That is powerful. That is intentional. That is how investors think. But let's be honest, not every veteran wants to be an investor. Some just want a home that fits their family, and that's okay. So here's the bridge. Even if you are buying a primary residence for lifestyle reasons, you should still think like an investor because life changes, PCS orders happen, career moves happen, family needs shift. If you ever need to convert that property to a rental, will the numbers work? Renovation can increase rental value. Updated kitchens attract better tenants. New roofs reduce maintenance calls. Modern systems lower surprise repairs. But over-improving beyond rental expectations hurts returns. So always align improvements with realistic use cases. Now let's discuss one of the biggest emotional traps, the almost deal. The one where the numbers are close, where you say, it's only a little tight, where you justify small gaps because you love the layout. That is where discipline must override desire. Let me give you a story. A retired Army officer found a home in a beautiful neighborhood. Large lot, great curb appeal, needed updates. Purchase plus renovation put him right at projected after repair value. No cushion, but he believed appreciation would save him. He moved forward. Renovation ran slightly over budget, nothing dramatic, but enough. 2 years later, market conditions slowed. He received PCS orders. When he sold, after closing costs, he walked away nearly break-even. Not catastrophic, but 2 years of risk for zero return. That's opportunity cost. Compare that to another veteran who walked away from a tight deal, waited 6 months, found a property with stronger margin, completed renovation with discipline, built immediate equity. 3 years later, converted to rental when relocating. That property now produces positive monthly cash flow. The difference? Margin at purchase, discipline at decision point. Now let's talk about debt-to-income ratios again, because this is where enthusiasm can quietly damage stability. When you roll renovation costs into your loan, your principal balance increases. Even if interest rates are favorable, a higher balance means higher payment. Before committing, ask yourself, if my income dropped temporarily, could I still carry this payment? If I had to replace a vehicle unexpectedly, would I feel squeezed? Financial resilience is more important than cosmetic upgrades, always. Another overlooked factor is insurance and taxes. Renovation can increase assessed value. Higher assessed value can mean higher property taxes. New roof and systems may reduce insurance risk, which is good, but you must review projected escrow payments carefully. Surprises here are common. Now let's address a mindset shift. The VA renovation loan is not for everyone, and that is okay. Sometimes the smarter move is buying move-in ready and focusing on stability. Other times, renovation is the gateway to long-term wealth building. The key is alignment. Alignment between your finances, your timeline, your risk tolerance, and the property itself. If those four align, renovation can be powerful. If one is off, stress multiplies. Let's create a simple decision framework. Step 1. Run conservative numbers, not optimistic numbers. Conservative. Step 2. Add 10% contingency minimum. Step 3. Evaluate after repair value with realistic comps. Step 4. Stress test your monthly payment. Step 5. Ask, if this goes slightly wrong, can I still win long term? If the answer is yes, proceed confidently. If the answer is maybe, pause. If the answer is no, walk away. There is strength in walking away. Veterans understand discipline. You don't force a mission when Intel says risk outweighs reward. Real estate is no different. Now let's talk about something encouraging. When executed properly, a VA renovation loan can accelerate your equity timeline by years. Instead of waiting 5 years for appreciation, you may create that equity on day one. That equity can later be leveraged, refinanced, or simply held as long-term wealth. It gives options, and options equal freedom. But freedom comes from structure, not impulse. If you are currently considering a fixer-upper with your VA benefit, here's what I want you to do this week. Talk to a lender who specifically offers VA renovation financing, not just VA loans. Renovation VA loans. Ask detailed questions about draw schedules and contingencies. Then connect with a real estate professional who understands renovation math, not just aesthetics, numbers. Interview at least 2 contractors, compare detail in their bids, not just price. And finally, build your personal contingency fund before closing. Do not rely solely on lender-required reserves. Extra liquidity equals confidence. If you're in North Florida and wondering whether that fixer-upper is a strategic opportunity or a financial trap, reach out, have a conversation, run the numbers before emotion takes over, because this is not about chasing HGTV moments. This is about building stability for your family. This is about using your VA benefit intentionally. This is about creating equity with discipline. If this episode helped you see renovation more clearly, share it with another veteran who's house hunting right now. And if you want a personalized strategy session to evaluate your options, connect with us. Let's build your plan with clarity and precision. As always, everything you ever wanted is on the other side of fear. The Florida Veterans Real Estate Podcast is brought to you by Exit Inspired Real Estate. All information is for educational purposes. Consult a professional before making financial decisions. Equal housing opportunity.